Alright, this is my third version of my Homemade Airsoft Claymore. It turned out pretty nice. It's relative to size to the real steel. We got the same leg style basically that the real steel has. Folds out like that, folds back in nicely. We have both of them there. It runs off of two 9-volt batteries in the back. And we have 3 modes for detonation. We have a tripwire, uses a pin that goes in here. When the pin pulls out, the small lever that's there gets pressed, which will turn on the motor and release the claymore. We have a manual detonation as well here in the top, a connector to attach a push button detonator, and then a motion sensor you can see here. They can be used as well. On the side, we have 2 buttons. One button is used to effectively disengage power to the motor. This allows for the calibration period the motion sensor has, and the on and off switch for the motion sensor. On the right side, we have the safety pin here. It goes in, and I'll open this up here. You can see the safety pin actually goes underneath this lever here, so it cannot be pushed when the safety pin is in. We have here using 4 springs from 2 mouse traps. We have one main arm that goes over the 2. It comes down here, is crossed by another arm, which then goes to the lever. Using that, you get a lot of leverage, so it doesn't take hardly any power to pull the lever down, which increases the reliability of the entire claymore. We have a small circuit board here that runs the claymore. Basically uses 2 555 timers in monostable mode. One 555 timer runs the motor, and the second one runs the timer for the motion sensor. Timer for the motion sensor is necessary because the motion sensor has a calibration period of about 60 seconds in which it goes on and off several times as it gets used to the environment it's in and all the ambient movements in it, so there's no accidental set-offs. Then the circuit board is run by one of the 9 volts, and then the motor is run by both the 9 volts. So close it up here, go ahead and give it a test fire. Press the button here on the side, and then flip the motion sensor on. Go over here and pull the safety switch out. If you're out in the field, you simply pull the legs out and stick it in the ground. Like I said, the timer there for the motion sensor disconnects power to the motor for about 1.5 minutes while the motion sensor is in that calibration period. So while we're waiting for that, just go over here and get a quick look at my previous versions. This was my first attempt, and this was my second attempt. First attempt used 2 regular mouse traps here and a small 3-volt motor to set it off. It didn't seem to work a whole lot, didn't have a whole lot of power because of the mouse traps, and could only be set off by a tripwire using magnets. My second version here was significantly larger than my last. It allowed for a push button detonator as well as a magnetic tripwire. It used ran on battery as well. I ended up taking the motor out of this one and putting it in the third one there. And then it used 2 rat traps. It used only 2 springs though, rather than the 4 the third one has. So it still didn't have a whole lot of power, and didn't have a whole lot of range because the length of the arms here was not very, they weren't very long, so it had very little power. So that was basically these 2. This one was very large, very bulky. It's actually comparable in size to this one over here, but that one is still, it's more realistically sized, more realistic looking. It's kind of got the same cone shape that the real Claymore has, rather than these 2, which are kind of the basic box designs that you see everywhere else. So my goal for this was to kind of get a realistic looking Claymore that worked well, that wasn't quite like all the other Claymores you see on the internet where it's just 2 rat traps nailed to the inside of a wood box. So right now the timer's probably done. We're going to go ahead and give this a wave and see how well it goes. There you go. See the BBs fit in the pouch. Arms open up, throws the BBs. Go ahead, flip the motion sensor off, and see if we can test fire with some BBs.